Tabba Saab. So I think I like to club a couple of questions together because we are also running out of time. But you have companies which are listed on Pakistan Stock Exchange. You have brought in FDI. You have bought companies which were foreign companies in Pakistan, and you have also set up entities outside Pakistan, and you are running successfully those entities in different regions. So, with all that experience, we like to hear from you, specifically with reference to the point that Arif Saab has also identified that somehow, and Dr. Inayat has also identified that somehow corporates are shy to get them listed on stock exchange. So, what are the reasons, and what actions do you believe should be taken to either create awareness among corporates or to basically optimize the regulations for them?
Thank you so much, Ahmed. First of all, I think a lot of panelists, speakers said that we should privatize as well. I think we should privatize the whole government, I think the private sector will be able to run the government more effectively and more efficiently than the politician itself. Because there are too many structural challenges, which I'm sure no politician will ever be able to address it. So either there's change in the mindset in Islamabad or some other way we need to address this issue. Unless we don't address, I think country will be running, as we say, aise chalta rahega. There will be no fundamental change in the country, even in the future or even beyond 20 years from now. Coming back, what you said, the corporates have a closed mindset in this country. They're not really opening up to the reality of the world. And the reason they're not waking up to the reality of the world is because they're all control freak people. They all just want to control their companies like, that is going to be run by one family to the other and beyond that. Unless we don't change that mindset, and start looking at areas, where you can attract capital, and capital market, stock exchange is one of the areas where you can actually attract capital. The other problem is the confidence of the retail investor, I don't want to say, but you see, it's also, there are companies, which are dividend yielding companies, which investor invest and they know they're going to get a certain amount of dividend every year. And there are stocks which are growth stocks, But there are certain companies or even a lot of companies in the stock exchange which are not even dividend yielding or not a growth story. So what's fundamentally wrong with those companies is because they keep parallel books, So they have two books of accounts, they don't show the real profit, and all that black money, which is generated through that is invested where? Real estate, unproductive assets. So all that capital, which should be deployed back into the business growth is actually siphoned off from the companies and then invested into these non-productive assets, So I think it's entrepreneur, it's family. I think it's everything, which determines the future, of any organization, of any group, We talk about businesses, flourishing first, second generation, collapsing on the third. It's just a mindset. Unless you don't open up, the way you want to look at your business, there will be a collapse because there is no way you can keep the pace with the world, with the changing world, I think, which is changing very rapidly. And also at times, when the opportunities are available, we don't go to capital markets to raise capital. We always look at the banks, to raise, or we go into the, sukuk or the bond market to even raise, which is not a bad thing, because given the saturation of the banks in Pakistan, because a lot of borrowing is done by the government, so there is very small space left for the corporates to come, and the rates are higher. So I think people should now go beyond the banking sector and try to raise capital. Also, I think we need to tap capital from outside Pakistan. The reason of Lucky Cement's success, was in 2008 when we realized that, we want to be a growth company. And how do we generate that growth? So we need capital, right? So we thought that the best idea is to go outside Pakistan and raise capital. I think we were the very few private family company, that went in 2008, raised about $120 million at that time. At that time, I think the entire market value of Lucky Cement was maybe about $200 or $300 million. So we raised substantial capital based on our capital outlay of that time. And that really actually helped us to, go into a next league, because when you meet those investors, which has more worldview, than just the local view, they actually help you, to grow your company. They give you ideas, they give you avenues, they discuss that, these are the areas and directions you should do. And that actually helped us, So at the time, when I remember, I think back in 2009 or 10, when cement industry was in a distress, because of the shrinkage of demand in Pakistan because of the global banking crisis at that time, Lucky Cement was the only company that was profitable. All the rest, 25 companies were making loss. So it's the time and the decision, that actually helps you to revolve and help you to evolve, your organization. And if you miss that opportunity, today, if you go to foreign investor to come in Pakistan, nobody's interested to come into Pakistan. If you want to raise foreign capital for Pakistan, for Pakistani companies, you cannot raise it. Today, I can raise foreign capital outside Pakistan for my foreign operation at lower than government of Pakistan. So, today in Africa, if I want to do a cement factory or any other factory, I can borrow at 6% dollar. And if you go to international market, it's not going to be less than 9-10%. So that's the difference, that how you build your structure. So as you said, when we went outside Pakistan, it took me 2 years to take the permission of $40 million to be remitted out of Pakistan. 2 years, I had to go back to State Bank, Ministry of Finance, back and forth. But I was persistent, I said, no, I'm going to get this money and put this money outside Pakistan. 2 years it took me. Between 2012, 2012 or 13 or 14 when we started our foreign operations and 2022 is about 8 years, all the foreign contracts was given to Pakistani companies, So all the construction contract was given. And I think between the 3 factories which we have now, I think we must have given $40-50 million of construction contract alone, and all that money came to Pakistan. Most of the employees, which are there are also from Pakistan. So they send about close to $800 to $1 million every month as their salaries, which are repatriated back to Pakistan. So look at the gain, the government has got over years, And not only that, also a company which has the asset outside Pakistan is able to do more business. Today I don't have to go to State Bank to give me more money, right? I can do my capital raising outside and I can do business and I can even, as I said, I can even borrow lower, Maybe a time comes that if the entrepreneurs in Pakistan can think that, and beyond that, I think we could be lenders to government of Pakistan. Instead of they borrowing from IMF, why can't the Pakistani companies who have grown to a size, of $1 billion, $2 billion, why can't they lend to government of Pakistan? Everything is possible, but I think we need to open up our minds. Government has to be very receptive. Making money is a crime and it's not the right thing in Pakistan. I think we need to change that mindset, and the government has to become more effective and more energetic, and stop playing with Pakistan economy, stop playing with Pakistani people for their own sake to be in power. I think that mindset has to change.
I think